Hi, my name is Kirsten Horsburgh and I'm the National Naloxone Coordinator at Scottish Drugs Forum. My initial experience of the programme was when I was working as a nurse in the Borders, and I remember sitting through training for trainers and my mind going into overdrive about how we could implement this locally. Very soon after the training I made my first supply of take-home naloxone to a person who was using heroin at the time. He spent about 20 minutes with me chatting about overdose, had a practice with the naloxone kit, and we talked through the basic life support element. When he left, I asked him to tell all his friends about naloxone, to try and raise awareness of what we were doing and to make people aware that they could come and see us for a supply regardless of whether they were seeing us as a treatment service or not. So he left and returned the following week, and I said, well, have you been telling everybody about naloxone? And he said, oh, I've actually had to use it. I was just amazed. What had happened was he lived on a bottom floor flat at the time. His friend had been passing by the window and he'd shouted him in so that they could use together. Unbeknownst to him, the friend had used quite a lot of benzos the night before and he wasn't a regular heroin user. He injected about 20 quid's worth of heroin and very quickly overdosed. The person I'd done the training with, he very confidently went through the process. He administered 2 doses of naloxone and his friend came round, thankfully. He'd been on the phone to the ambulance service and the paramedics did arrive. His friend refused to go with the paramedics, which is quite often the case, but he stayed with him and made sure that he was okay. So I gave him huge congratulations for how he dealt with the situation. He said he felt very confident during it, so that just shows that, you know, even delivered as a brief intervention in 20 minutes, people are getting the required skills to go on and potentially save people's lives. So it was then that I saw the instant impact that this programme could potentially have in reducing the number of drug-related deaths. So it became the mission that every single person who we were seeing as a treatment service was afforded naloxone, no question. It became the standard, it was normalised and it was prioritised in the service. So every single person who came to the addiction service got naloxone, no question. And it was from then that really started to see a culture change in how we were seen as a treatment service, and the way that relationships could improve with the people that we were seeing was absolutely fantastic. I think this is the best thing to have happened for treatment services. Such a powerful message to be able to physically supply someone with a medication that could potentially save their life or that of a friend. So I really hope that we see in Scotland that that takes place in every single treatment service, so that opiate replacement therapy and naloxone provision goes hand in hand, that it's made a priority in services. I mean, what could be more of a priority than making sure that that person gets back to see you again? As a nurse, it was an absolute gift to be able to supply people with naloxone. Now that I work for Scottish Drugs Forum, I'm no longer working under a patient group direction, so I find it incredibly frustrating that I can no longer make physical supplies of naloxone. I can do loads and loads of training, I just can't make supplies. So I suppose my plea, if you like, to all the nurses that are out there who are working under PGDs, please make it a priority in your service so that we can massively increase the number of naloxone kits that are out in the community, in order to make any kind of impact on the tragic number of drug-related deaths that we see in Scotland every year. What we've seen in other countries is that naloxone provision has initially came from the grassroots. Now that's been quite different in Scotland because the government have responded to the huge number of drug-related deaths that we have here, and they've implemented, fully funded and supported this naloxone programme. So I think what sometimes has happened is that people see this as a treatment that's maybe being put on them. So we need to get through those barriers. So if you have a history of opiate use, or you're currently using opiates, or you're on opiate replacement therapy, please ask for naloxone. I'm pleased to say that I have people in my life today because of naloxone.